Hi, we're about to go through the assessment task. The new one that we're having, it's called a
Raspberry
Pie, and Daniel Corger, the head of department, will be training me and showing me exactly what is required for this assessment for senior graphics, year 11 and year 12. Daniel.
Okay, so in a nutshell, what we're asking the kids to do is to create a case that goes over that.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So you buy the product like that, or you can buy the product with cases.
Right. Okay.
So it's a mini microcomputer that they can use a program it. They can add.
So we're going to use Inventor for the software.
Yeah.
AutoCAD.
Inventor. And they can they can obviously, there's onboard RAM, a gig of RAM, but they're adding any external memory is going to be via USB.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
It also has Bluetooth and it has Wi-Fi.
Oh wow.
This model does. So.
And it's got a sound jack by the looks.
Yep. So what we're asking the kids to do.
It's pretty cool.
Is as an accomplished designer, you have been approached by Apple to create a new exterior case for the Pi. That will appeal to a wide market of consumers. The design is to be presented as a tender for the Apple CEO, who intends to mass produce your design along with the Pi circuit boards. And then if we go right down to the bottom,
right,
you're required to produce a folio of the design process, and again, like we did with the bungalow, a standalone graphical product to be presented to the Apple CEO. So again, what they actually present in their invented drawings has to be driven by who the audience is.
Right, which is the Apple CEO.
So their design, So their design is not aimed at the Apple CEO, even though he's the one who's going to okay it or not.
Right.
It's designed at a broad demographic of people who are going to want to use it. So that's who they're designing for. Okay. They're trying to sell it to nerds who are going to buy this sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay.
The actual conceptual design package that comes out as a drawing folio is going to be presented to the CEO.
Right.
So again, remembering that your audience drives what sort of drawings you're going to give. So obviously there's going to be some nice renderings as a 3D object from different angles to give you full detail.
Yep.
In terms of dimensioning and accuracy and drawings that they could actually build the product from, that's probably not necessary, again, because you're not building it for the person who's going to manufacture it, who needs to know all of that nitty-gritty. You're building it for the Apple CEO, so he's probably going to want to know roughly what's the overall size going to be.
Okay.
Because you know what Apple's like, everything's trying to be smaller and more compact and so on. So that's what he's going to be looking for. So the kids would probably provide some minor overall dimensions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying so they would measure this like in
they can measure that on the actual task sheet. I've downloaded an image that gives them a lot of those measurements already.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I bought the product is so that the kids have physically got it in their hands and they can think about design decisions that they need to make.
Right.
So they might even include photographs
of
that in their research part. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Make it real.
So the sorts of things that in the task itself, we mention a few things that they're going to need to look at. The final case is going to need to be stable on a flat surface. Easy to open, allow for ventilation for internal products. So if they're smart in their research, they'll go and have a look at images or other companies that have designed cases for this.
And look where they put the vents to keep.
Look where they put ventilation. They can use that. Cool. There's no reason why they can't grab some of those images and put them in their ideation section where they're actually sketching up ideas for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. It's a shame we can't 3D print the shell, isn't it?
Well, we could. There's no reason why we can't if they come up with a good design.
Because we're working on that 3D
again
printing now.
Because it's Apple, they're looking for high quality design aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything Apple is sleek
Yeah.
and smart looking.
Yeah.
Um,
Do they want
and-
the Apple logo on it? Can we
yeah,
pop
well,
that on there?
they can put that on there, or
Not
they
going
can
to get
they
done
can
for
put
copyright.
they can put a, what I would suggest is they do a hybrid between the Apple and the Raspberry, because
Oh, okay.
the task suggests that Apple has bought Raspberry out.
Okay. Okay.
So that maybe gets us out of any sort of problem with.
Legalities.
But again, like one of the design factors that they have to, both the 11s and the 12s, is legal responsibility. So they
Yeah.
need to talk through the fact that
Right.
you know, the imprint of the Pi Apple type
Right.
symbol that they come up with is going to then be something that will be owned by Apple.
Right.
So that's a legal responsibility that
Right.
they get that right, and that they haven't actually come up with a symbol that another company already owns.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They
Yeah.
need to argue that
absolutely.
out and talk that out in their assignment.
Absolutely.
Materials is something that they are going to consider in
It's a shame we
year
can't.
12. So only the year 12s are considering materials.
Uh-huh.
All right. I would suggest that the grade 11s will suggest what materials they're going to make it out of,
Right.
but they're not going to make it as obvious in their design
Report,
factors that
okay.
they've, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
the crate.
in the actual assignment task, we've stipulated that it's to be manufactured from sustainable low environmental impact materials.
Right.
So in part of their research, they're going to have to go and find some plastics
Right.
that are recyclable or
Right.
low impact on the environment.
Right. Right.
Okay, so they have to have done some research. So whilst it looks like a simple task to build just
Yeah.
a simple case for that,
Yeah.
when they go back and consider it against the design factors, there's a lot of stuff that they need to consider.
Okay.
The other thing that I suggest we do is we put together a sheet, and a scaffolding sheet.
Yeah.
We work through the same sheet that they've used, you know, the big document that they
Yeah.
print out and they write in the various
Yeah.
graphic organisers.
Yeah.
They can still use that exact format.
Right.
It shouldn't differ,
Right.
because it still gets them to think about design criteria in those
Right.
three headings. It still gets them to think about concept mapping to start with. It gets
Yeah.
them to go through their sketching up of designs.
Yeah.
It gets them to think about what graphical product they're going to produce at
Right.
the end. All of
Right.
that is still there in
Yeah.
any of these design tasks that they do for us.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a problem. And you
But I'm
suggesting
just
now
thinking
doing
we do a
scaffolding.
one-page thing where we
Right.
suggest things like you need to consider your materials, you need to consider ventilation,
Oh, okay.
you need to consider
like a
a
checklist.
design that perhaps takes into
Do a checklist
Yeah.
like type thing.
a design that takes into account
The
the
logo.
Raspberry Pi logo and
Yeah.
the Apple logo, so something that joins the two together.
Right.
That would become very recognisable,
Yeah.
so that the audience that you're looking to buy it based on the fact that they want to buy. You know, a lot of times Apple products are bought simply because they got the Apple logo on
That's true.
there. You know, like a
It's
BMW is
an
bought
image.
just because it's got BMW written on it.
Yeah.
You can sell people anything, but because
Yeah.
they think BMW is awesome. So they have
That's
to
it.
consider that.
Okay, the power of the logo.
The uses of this. So
Mhm.
I've just had a look and done a little bit of research, and I'll put some other things in there. But there's, it's not a scaffolding document. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, when on the exam we gave them the pictures. and so on.
stimulus. A
Stimulus.
stimulus.
So I've
document.
downloaded
Okay.
a CNET article
Right.
that says 25 different uses of that.
Oh, okay.
So one of the uses is that you can put it together, you can plug it into your normal
Right.
TV
Yes.
and make it a smart TV. So you can
Oh,
then
really?
search the internet off it. And the good
Oh,
thing
wow.
about this latest model is
Yeah.
it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to have that plugged into a cable to be able to access the
Right.
internet. You can then plug that directly into your TV, and your
Right.
TV becomes a smart TV because you can access Google off this
It's fantastic, isn't it?
through Wi-Fi off your
Right.
system. So
Okay.
why am I saying that? Well, if the kids are thinking, I've got to design a case for this, what the heck am I going to use that device for? Does that
Yeah.
does that factor in what my design's going to look like? So if it's on a TV, maybe they need to design clips on here so that it clips to your
Fits on the
TV
TV.
somewhere, or it sits neatly with your
Sure.
TV. Another thing that really irks me with tablets,
Yeah.
not so much I guess Apple tablets, because Apple won't let you put in any added
Yeah.
memory,
Right.
but most of your other tablets have got an SD slot.
Right.
All right, but those SD slots might be limited. So, for example, I've got a cheap tablet at home. I can only put a 32 gigabyte SD card in there. I can't buy a 128 and whack it in there because the machine can't handle it. But what I could do is I could have multiple 32 gig SD cards. So I could have an SD card of 32 gig with all my movies on it. I could have an SD card with all my music on it. And that way that machine becomes more useful to me because I can actually carry with me way more memory, but I can only have one plugged into the slot being used at a time. Right?
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is why they don't have some sort of openable section on your tablet where you can slide open a door and all of your loose SD cards that you're not using
Right.
just sit in there.
Yeah.
And
Just
you clip
hang
it
on
shut.
to it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have a look, for example, you can show the kids a mouse like this.
Yeah.
They've been smart about that little bit there.
So you can put the.
Stores in there, right?
Yep.
So they can do the same thing on anything. If you have a look, there's plenty of space in the middle here. They could have a case that comes over the top. And then a slot in here that opens up and could fit. Now this doesn't take SD cards, but it does take USBs.
Right.
So you could have a USB that's 16 gig and have two of them and have a little door that slides open and they sit inside there. So you've always got those two USBs with you.
So where's the power source to that? It doesn't need a power source?
The power source, I'm guessing, would be...
It comes through the USB?
Whatever you're running it off. So if you're running it off, if you're running it off your smart TV, that would be your power source.
Must draw a current from there somehow. It's interesting.
There's a micro SD, I think, there, so you could possibly be running.
Wire.
Yeah, that'd be an Android connection, wouldn't it? So you could be running it like that.
Yes.
So you could plug in there and plug into your computer, and then that's powered up.
Yeah. We have plenty of those. Yeah, that's
so if we put together a sheet, plus give the kids some stimulus material of where this is used and how it's used, like on the document that I've put in there.
Okay, we'll stop right now because we don't want to make we'll continue on without filming. Thank you.